All right, now we have census of marine life. So, found new ocean species living. Now we've got very good clue. Found new ocean species living under the dash. Underline the word under. And right there below. They can use the word under. For under, they can use the word below, beneath. Okay? So, under. Let's see. Just focus the word below or beneath and you will find the answer.
So now people who want to protect the species that are endangered need to get as much information as possible. For example, there's an international project called the Census of Marine Life. They've been surveying oceans all over the world, including the Arctic. One thing they found there, which stunned other researchers, was that there were large numbers of species which live below the ice. Sometimes under
there were a large number of species that live below the ice. So below the ice and under the ice. Okay, now we go on. Global marine species assessment. Want to list endangered ocean species considering population size? That is first point. They are going to consider three things. One is population size. Second is geographical distribution. And by the way, whenever they give you bullet points, and over here we have 3 bullet points, focus signposting. First of all, secondly, thirdly, or lastly. So whenever they use the word thirdly, the rate of dash. For rate of, they can use any other word. Rate of, ratio, or anything like that. Okay, ratio of something. So thirdly and rate of. This will tell you what is the answer.
However, biologists still don't know how serious the threat to their survival is for each individual species. So a body called the Global Marine Species Assessment is now creating a list of endangered species on land, so they consider things like the size of the population, how many members of one species there are in a particular place, and then they look at their distribution in geographical terms, although this is quite difficult when you're looking at fish because they're so mobile. And then thirdly, they calculate the rate at which the decline of the species is happening.
They calculate the rate at which the decline of species is happening. So rate of decline. Okay, decline is the right answer. Question number 38. Aim to assess 20,000 species and make a distribution dash for each one. For example, make a distribution chart. Right? Something like that. So assess 20,000 species and make a distribution something for each one. Each one means species.
So far, only 1,500 species have been assessed, but they want to increase this figure to 20,000. For each one they assess, they use the data they collect on that species to produce a map showing its distribution. Ultimately, they will be able to use
a map showing its distribution. So to produce a map showing its distribution means a distribution map. Okay, map will be the right answer. Okay, question number 39. Recommendations to retain ocean biodiversity. Increase the number of ocean reserves. Second, establish. Underline the word establish. For establish, they can use the word create or they can use the word make. Build, exactly. Create dash corridors. So, establish dash corridors means create corridors for turtles. Make dash corridors for turtles means they are going to give them the way that they can go from there. So, let's see.
So, finally, what can be done to retain the diversity of species in the world's oceans? Firstly, we need to set up more reserves in our oceans, places where marine species are protected. We have some, but not enough. In addition, to preserve species such as leatherback turtles, which live out in the high seas but have their nesting sites on the American coast, we need to create corridors for migration, so they can get from one area to another safely.
For migration. So establish migration corridors. Now, how the language they manipulated? Need to create corridors for migration. Corridors for migration means migration corridors. So, answer is migration. Okay, reduce fishing quotas in question number 40. Catch fish only for the purpose of. Now, one purpose of catching fish is eating. Another purpose is making some medicine and all that. So catch fish only for the purpose of something. And for catch only for the purpose that they can use the word, they should be allowed to catch fish for eating. Answer will be eating.
As well as this, action needs to be taken to lower the levels of fishing quotas to prevent overfishing of endangered species. And finally, there's the problem of bycatch. This refers to the catching of unwanted fish by fishing boats. They're returned to the sea, but they're often dead or dying. If these commercial fishing boats used equipment which was more selective so that only the fish wanted for consumption were caught, this problem could be overcome.
Fish wanted for consumption. So purpose of consumption. Fish wanted for consumption. Listen to this last thing.
If these commercial fishing boats used equipment which was more selective so that only the fish wanted for consumption were caught, this problem could be overcome.
All right, consumption is the right answer. Now, please listen, the last thing. Overall, how would you rate this test? Easy, moderate, difficult, very difficult? Moderate, yeah. If I talk about this test and I talk about actual IELTS level of difficulty, only section 3 was a little hard because of multiple choice, because of all multiple choice questions. And section 4 was also a little tricky. But part 1 and part 2, they were easy, okay? This happens sometimes. Part 1 and part 2, they are easy. Part 3 is extremely difficult. Sometimes part 1 is easy, part 2 is difficult, and part 3 is easy. Sometimes all easy. Sometimes all difficult, okay? So that is why IELTS depends on your luck as well. Now today through this test, you guys have identified the difficult type of questions for you, and you can practice them more and more, right? This is how you can make them easier, right? Thank you.